the Detroit Pistons, you talk about winners. I don't know how much stock people do put in the Summer League, but I'm telling you right now, the things that we're seeing from our young guys, is some stock to take away from there. The Detroit Pistons have started off Summer League 2-0, and they look like they want to play for something. Ron Holland looks like he wants to go out there and prove he's the best player out there on the floor.
He's like a man amongst boys out there.
A man amongst boys. He's an alpha out there.
Yeah.
Because this is one thing that I think people forget. Ron Holland, rotation, he didn't play or have a lot of the usage that all of the previous number five draft picks had, right? And Jalen Duren. They stepped in different roles. Ron Holland came here at a time when the organization was ready to go to the next level, and his job was just, hey, fit in where you get in and make sure you play some defense.
Yeah.
But he can still hoop. He was playing in the G League as a teenager. People got to remember that. High volume, hitting like 50% of his shots inside the arc on high volume. What did you see him doing there? Put back dunks for fouls?
Yeah.
And one put back dunks. Like, he is a man amongst boys. Hitting the threes.
The
shout out to Fred
step-back
Vincent.
three? Oh
like,
God.
I'm telling you, man. So, shout out to him who said he wants to prove that he is the best draft pick of his draft class, man. So, shout out to Ron Holland. But just to break it down, the first game, 104-86. Victory over the New York Knicks. Man, if we could have borrowed that for the playoffs.
Man, tell me about it.
And that's the one where Ron Holland absolutely showed out. 28 points on the night, 11 rebounds. He's averaging just under 4 stocks per game, 3 steals per game for Ron Holland. So he's getting it. 98-83 victory over the Houston Rockets in game 2-1, in which Ron Holland cooled down a little bit on the scoring, 15 points, but was still just a solid. But Danniss Jenkins, Chaz Lanier, those are two guys who have continued, bro, to stand out to me. Chaz Lanier has done what he's supposed to do, and that's shoot the cover off the ball.
Yeah.
Whether he's hitting at the rate that we want or not, shoot the ball. And that's what he's doing. 4 of 11 in that second game was good to see. And Danniss Jenkins, he's looking as much a part of the rotation player that he did last season when the Pistons called him up. He was already an older player, and he's going out there and he's putting the work in it, facilitating. It's not easy to go out there and facilitate, hunt assists in the Summer League. So shout out to these Summer League Pistons. They're starting off good. Defense is the name of the game. Literally, defense is the name of the game for this squad. And they're going out there getting contributions from the guys that you want to see. They're two-way players. They're draft picks. And Bobby Klintman, I'm looking to see a little bit more from him. I believe you'll see more from him as they turn down Ron Holland's usage.
Yeah, but he still didn't look bad. And some of his playmaking ability is really, really slept on, bro. The way he can pass the ball when he's underneath the basket, I was really impressed with some of that work. And I'm glad you brought up Danniss Jenkins, because I thought he would be the forgotten name in terms of the Pistons' new young players. But I think maybe at this point, should there be a strong, and I want to get your opinion on this, should there be a strong consideration as to maybe Danniss Jenkins being that backup guard that we talk about? We've brought up Sasser. Can he play that role? You know, I think Danniss Jenkins, with some of the improvements he's made making wise, should there be a better conversation as to him maybe being that replacement guard going forward?
The one thing I know is that everybody's going to get their opportunity to, and Danniss Jenkins, why wouldn't he get his opportunity?
He can score, he can pass. Like, I like a lot of things about Danniss, and he gets better seemingly every time I watch him.
And the thing is, you know, when we saw him at the NBA level last year, second half of the season, when they called him up a lot more than they did in the first half, he was able to do his job. Obviously, he's not going to go out there and be a high-volume scorer. That's the thing that I noticed changed the most for him when he got to the NBA level. But then you also have to ask yourself, is this a product of what are you asked to do?
Right.
Are you asked? Are you given a certain green light, or are they telling you to go out there, turn your usage down, play it safe like Tyrese Halliburton, and give yourself an opportunity to have as little mistakes as possible? And that's what you saw to Danniss Jenkins. And for him to be able to come up and do that at a time where, you know, if people don't know, Danniss Jenkins and Marcus Sasser are best friends. They grew up together, hooped together. Marcus Sasser campaigned for Danniss Jenkins to be here, not just because they were boys, but because he believed that Danniss Jenkins could contribute. And all Danniss Jenkins has done since he's gotten here is torn up the G League.
Yeah.
He's getting awards in the G League. he's like, he doesn't belong there.
He doesn't.
I'm just being for real. And then
out.
he comes into the Pistons and he's done his thing. And now the Summer League, he's done what he did last year. It was no competition for him realistically last year either.
Yeah, man. I just really think that a conversation needs to be had. Whether he gets it or not, of course he needs to earn that spot. But I like his size a little bit better than Sasser. Defensively,
For
I mean,
point guard, yes.
Yeah,
100%.
exactly. Defensively, he's a tad better than Sasser, although it's not a great difference between them defensively. But I like a lot of the things he does out on the floor, and he seems to exert that kind of leadership that you want to see out of a young player. But Sam, what do you think?
I think y'all are being a little too disrespectful to Marcus Sasser, quite frankly.
I'm not trying to be.
No,
I promise I'm not trying to be.
I know you're not.
I don't mean that he should
No,
pass
I'm not
up Marcus
saying you.
Sasser.
I'm just saying a conversation should be had. That's all.
I don't think Marcus Sasser should be the backup point guard, though. That's me. And I've been on record saying this since before we drafted him. I believe that Marcus Sasser is a combo guard who should be in your top 8 rotation, top 9 rotation coming into the season. But I just believe that you need him next to a facilitator or a guard. Like if you had Schroeder back, I would see Schroeder and Marcus Sasser. So when I'm entertaining the idea of Danniss, I'm entertaining that as maybe next to or in the same lineup as a Marcus Sasser in some regards. But still behind him in the
and I think it's what we expect of Danniss Jenkins, because obviously we can see what he's doing in Summer League. He's had a couple of really, really nice games, and that cannot be, and I'm not just going to poo-poo that, because when you're Danniss Jenkins and you have to fight and scratch and claw for everything that you have, you're somebody who it would really behoove you to show up at a Summer League, and he has done that so far. But I also want to temper things a little bit. The odds are really, really stacked against him even still. He's an undrafted player. He got a little bit of playing time last year, but I believe it was 7 games.
Mm-hmm.
I think it just depends on what we expect from Danniss Jenkins. Is he somebody that can give you 40 to 45 games of maybe 8 to 10 minutes when you need him? Is he somebody more? I would probably lean towards the 40 to 50 games of 8 to 10 minutes, and it would have an impact on this team, but not super, super big, a little bit more negligible. But, hey, we'll see. It's been very impressive what he's done. I just wonder what he's going to be expected to do on this team. I suspect not too much.
And that's what I think. It's just one of those things where if he's playing, he's going to be somebody that is probably 10th or 11th on the rotation or in the depth chart.
Yeah.
And if he plays, he's going to be a guy that can handle the offense, can run the plays, can get the ball to the shooters, can get the balls to the players in the gaps. He's not going to be somebody that's going to give you no effort or on defense, but he will be hunted on defense. Just the same way that they're going to hunt Marcus Sasser, who I believe is a better player. But limitation-wise, we understand he's not necessarily the tallest. I promise you guys, I am taller than Marcus Sasser.
Oh, yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So it's like, I'm not trying to disrespect because he's in the NBA.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he's hooping. But it is what it is. And that's where, you think of what Danniss Jenkins could be. I'm invested in seeing him succeed. I followed him at Summer League, got to speak to him and things of that nature. And so you get, drawn to who those people are internally, but who he's showing himself to be as a player. You like the skeleton. I just wonder how much of that translates over to the NBA game. He's solid, and he can be in rotation. But I do wonder, more like, Flannel Sam, how much of that does translate over?
No, absolutely. But with Sasser, it's just like you don't want to force him into something that's unnatural for him. Yeah. And playmaking at times seems a bit unnatural for him because he's a natural-born scorer. He can go out there, be a spark plug, be an energy player, and provide you some points off the bench. He's
is his
read
strong
and react
passer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That is his strong suit. So I don't want to force him into a role that he may not succeed in, especially for over the course of, like you said, 40-some-odd games. So, and shout out to Weezy D313. I wanted to highlight this comment. Jenkins will be in the Sasser role this next season. Can you see that for Danniss Jenkins? Maybe him being the energy player with Sasser being the primary backup guard.
The difference is this: when Sasser touched the NBA floor, Sasser was doing stuff.
Marcus Sasser was also a first-round pick.
Yeah, he was a first-round pick.
People forget Danniss Jenkins undrafted. The odds are way more stacked against him than Marcus Sasser.
Right, true.
Yeah. If this was on draft night, I would still maintain the odds things. Right now, it's just a matter of
I get it.
We got to see if it can translate. All the skill sets are there, but when he hits the NBA, he was solid, but the scoring wasn't necessarily there.
You need
quickness, because that's the one thing. He's very fast G League wise. Is he fast NBA wise?
Yeah.
Those windows that he's able to attack and take advantage of at the G League level, I wasn't able to see him necessarily take advantage of that in limited minutes with the Pistons, but it was limited.
Right.
So that's why I'm like, I really want to see him get some run in preseason this year. I think that's where Danniss Jenkins should get some time. Marcus Sasser should get the opportunity to run point guard as well. Remember last year what they had him doing?
Yeah.
I would talk to him. He's like, they got me running point guard stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Even though we know it's not necessarily to his strongest suit, I'm glad that they're at least trying to develop the skill set because height-wise, that's where he's going to slot.
Yeah.
Though skill-wise, he's just a combo guard who can go out there, and sometimes I wonder if they can put Marcus Sasser in an unconscionable role where he doesn't have to think. He can go on heaters. We've seen him go on heaters. I want him in that lane. I think he's much better at going on heaters, shooting the ball from all three levels and including that little floater than if we're like, all right, go out there and run point guard for Cade. It's just like I don't know, and that's where you and I are in lockstep. They got to do something. And you got to ask yourself, is Jaden Ivey it? Because that's the person and the solution that Trajan Langdon has brought up. I believe in a lot of Jaden Ivey, but there's a difference between a natural-born playmaker, and that's what Dennis Schroeder highlighted. But to be fair, similar to the Marcus Sasser, Danniss Jenkins thing, Schroeder he just got a 3-year contract to be a starting guard in the NBA. So, it's what you have to pick from, man. And that's where I get why you're probably focusing on Danniss Jenkins, because when you look at the roster right now, the only solutions we've gotten is Jaden Ivey and Karis LeVert can facilitate a little bit.
But you don't want him as the starting point guard.
That's
the backup point guard. Yeah. So, no. I would much rather, if you're going to have Danniss Jenkins and Sasser out there at the same time, you can easily push Karis to the 3 and he can play the wing role coming off the bench. But I would much rather prefer that. But I'm just saying, like, going forward, there should at least be a conversation. I would like to see what both men can do in that spot, but I think both of them kind of earn their spot to at least give them a shot at it and see what happens, especially if you're not going to get nobody else.
That's going to be an intriguing one to see. Like I said, preseason is going to tell a lot for Danniss Jenkins because he's already done everything you need to see in the G League.
Yeah.
There's nothing else he can show down there at all.
Yeah.
I'm glad that Motor City Crew's got a player of that caliber there.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a time where it's like if he can go out there, run your pick and rolls, run your pick and pops, run your DHOs, find your shooters, focus literally like your job is just to facilitate, I want to see it.
No, absolutely. The next player I wanted to ask you about is Bobby Klintman because, I like some of the stuff that he showed. Of course, he wasn't as prolific as we've seen him before. Do you think he's where he needs to be right now? Where do you think he needs to improve going forward? And can he maybe even crack into this bench rotation for the Pistons coming up?
What I liked about Bobby Klintman in the first game was the facilitation, stuff in the stat sheet and things of that nature. The second game, I would have liked to see more of that, but the nature of the game changed in terms of how the offense was flowing. And what that tells me is when you look at both games, he was largely consistent throughout both games.
Yeah.
And that's what you want out of a guy like that, who he's showing better on the boards this year than he did last year in Summer League. And I do believe that has more to do with his aggression, putting some fouls out there on people. And he's still showing that he has an acumen to stretch the floor, but he's not necessarily doing it at the rate that you want to see it at.
Yes.
And that's where I want to see Danniss Jenkins even more be able to work through players like that. We know that Bobby Klintman has a skill set. Versatile, 3-level, not just scorer, but ball handler too. He needs to get a little bit better when you're talking about scoring from the perimeter or off the dribble.
Yeah.
But you talk about the defenders who's going to be facing him. He has realistically all of the tools. It's just a matter of, I think, the confidence, the usage. Last year he looked a little bit more confident to me, whereas this year you got some alphas on that squad who are just like, yeah, I'm here. Last year, who didn't really play? Ron Holland didn't really play.
Yep.
And Bobby Klintman had a couple games where he got off as a rookie, second-round draft pick. This year you got Ron Holland going in there, and he's like, this is mine.
Yeah,
and I've noticed Bobby Klintman, this is where it might help him, though. He just, by osmosis, just fits right in, though.
Yeah.
And that's where I do believe if you're talking about a player who – Trajan Langdon, again, brought up Bobby Klintman as a player to watch going into training camp as one of those guys taller that can help us stretch the floor. So
he can be the Fontecchio replacement.
It'd be interesting, man. What about you, man? Because, I don't know what Fontecchio gave us last year. If Klintman can't get those minutes, then I'm like, what are we doing? Give Klintman those minutes at the very least. I'm glad that they paid the respect to Fontecchio and gave him opportunity. Because if you're going to try and trade him, you got to have to put something on tape.
Right.
But I'm hoping Klintman at least gets those minutes.
They got Duncan Robinson.
What have you thought about him? Because last year, better showing to start Summer League. But this year, I feel like overall, stat sheet type stuff, he's having his presence be felt.
Yeah, I mean, all right, here's the thing about Bobby Klintman. First of all, I was glad to, even though in the grand scheme of things it didn't matter too much, glad to see him get some minutes last year to end the year.
Mm-hmm.
Did some nice things. I've been a little underwhelmed so far in Summer League with his lack of scoring prowess. Obviously, the rebounds have been great. You saw in the first game, kind of did a little bit of everything. I love that. But at the end of the day, with Bobby Klintman, he's another one. As much as we trust Trajan Langdon, as much as, we want to believe in everybody that the Pistons bring in, he's a second-round pick. Sometimes second-round picks turn into more nothing burgers than something burgers. I like his potential. I certainly like his size. Mm-hmm. And Summer League certainly is not gospel and doesn't mean everything. But I've been underwhelmed with the first couple of games in the Summer League. I would have liked to see him impose his will a little bit more like Ron Holland did and Danniss Jenkins has.
Yeah, you notice, and that's what I was getting at effectively. Like, it seems like that confidence is down. I wonder if that usage turns back up if Holland's not there, because I saw that. I remember I was walking sideline, and I was like, man, y'all get to see Holland play. And then we got a little text. He ain't playing. I saw him on the sidelines, and I was like, man, let me at least get the content there. I was like, what up, dog? And we got to kind of chat and talk, and he was like, yo, I'm really looking forward to seeing what my dog Bobby about to do. And he went out there, and he had a game. And they weren't playing slouches last year either. And so that's where 100% on point where Flannel's at. You want to see Bobby Klintman go out there and impose his will, not just like – that's why I said I don't know if it's good or not. He can just kind of, by osmosis, fit in. Mm-hmm. Kind of did that on the NBA level, too, in his limited appearances. But when you got that much talent, like his layup line stuff, have you guys seen him? This guy has, like, endless hops. Yeah. And can do whatever dunk you ask him to do. That's
he
what I'm
looks
like.
so pretty on the basketball court.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm just like, bro, take the Summer League. Like, take over. Just get a 6-0 run or do something. I do want to see that out of Bobby Klintman. That's where I started with. Seems like either confidence or either he's acquiescing to Ron Holland, who I don't think he asked anybody. I don't think he went and say, Bobby, you care if I'm aggressive? But Bobby's a guy, he will acquiesce, and I do think that is actually a bad thing for the Pistons. I actually want to see him go out there, stretch your legs, and go out there and ball.
Be a dog,
like, he's
man.
Talented.
At times, it seems like he forgets how big he is. He doesn't use his body enough for me. No. That's something I would like to see him improve on. But we all know he has the shot. He has the athleticism. And like I said, some of his playmaking ability under the basket, under duress, I'm really, really impressed by, man. I would like to see him take some strides, because if he can just become a more aggressive scorer, then I feel like that'll benefit him and the Pistons long term, because then they could play him in that Fontecchio spot, and he would, play that role without too much of a problem. But the last player, of course, I got to ask you about Chaz Lanier. A lot of stuff I liked about his game. I think he's a really good acquisition for the Pistons going forward. I just want to see more of a sample size of what he can do. But what did you think about Chaz Lanier in his first couple of appearances?
That he's going to fit day one.
Yeah.
Shoot the ball.
Yeah.
Locate.
He's a specialist.
Move.
He's a specialist.
It's everything that we talked about when we were on draft night, and that's all you want to see. Do you want to see him knocking the shots down? Sure, it'll make you feel a little bit more better. But when you see that the instinct is there from a player like that, he knows where to be on the court. He understands how more so than just kind of fitting in like Bobby Klintman is. He's like, I'm getting mine. 11 shot attempts from beyond the arc. It's like, do your thing, young dog. Like, that's what you want to see out of him, because imagine this, when those looks aren't defenders sticking to Chaz Lanier like they're going to in the Summer League. You got to think about that. They know, that's Chaz Lanier. Stay on him.
Right.
But in the NBA, they're not going to do that.
No, they're
going to say, that's Cade Cunningham.
Right.
Send the double team off the rook.
Yeah.
That's what they're going to say. And he has to effectively take advantage of even greater space and knock that down. So what we saw to Chaz Lanier, and let me just, so people can understand how much he shot the ball.
He shot the
ball.
Not always well, but it's nice to see that he's not shy.
Yeah, look, 4 of 11 in the first game, 2 of 7 from behind the arc versus the Knicks, and I was excited for that because he still got 10 points, 4 assists, and 2 rebounds, showing that shooting night or not, this guy is going to give you effort, and he's going to be able to fill up the stat sheet. Second game, 5 of 14 from the floor, 4 of 11 from behind the arc. So his true shooting and effectiveness and things, but similar to like some of the roles that Sadiq Bey played for the Detroit Pistons, coming through that Summer League. I'm like, man. You know what? I mean, I'm gonna get you a few rebounds. I'm gonna get you a few assists,
right?
And it's not just I'm just shooting threes. No, this guy has a little bit more to his game.
Yeah, and I like the fact that he doesn't totally get tunnel vision like when he's shooting and not hitting the ball. He knows how to put the ball on the floor. He had a really nasty like pivot foot layup in the mid-range, man. I want to see more of that. I want to be able to see him when that shot's not falling. What else can you do? And he has that athletic ability to be able to cut and get to the basket. I want to see more of that from Chaz Lanier because we all know he can shoot the ball. He's a specialist. Go ahead, Sam.
I wonder, though, for his long-term future in the NBA, if you're going to get an all-around player or more of a specialist.
Right.
We know that.
That's the question.
That's
the
question.
Right. And that's okay, by the way, second-round pick. And I hate to be temper expectations guy because I have been.
That's a great point.
25 shots, 18 of them were threes. That sounds about right. We can see that he's not shy. I've gone over that he did more things at Tennessee. He was actually pretty good at finishing, around the rim. I think if somebody closes out on him, he can take that one dribble, step back, and knock a three down anyway. But I think his future in the NBA is going to be as somebody who just knocks the F out of threes. And that's great, by the way. That's fantastic. He could be that, and I'm not saying he's ever going to be this guy, like a Danny Green archetype. Maybe Danny Green's his ceiling. If he becomes Danny Green, I'm like thrilled.
Perfect player comp. Because what was Danny Green known for? Shoot. Yes, he can stand in the corner and shoot the three.
Yep.
But you blink, and he's moved and relocated. Catch the ball in the blink of an eye.
Just keep moving, Chaz Lanier. Stay
moving.
That's
Chaz. What does he excel at? Movement, scoring, movement, shooting. That's where, if he was going out there and he wasn't shooting 6 and 7 threes a game in Summer League, that's where I'd be a little bit concerned because I would be like, then what are they working on? This is, I like his overall ability to do different things, which means in pinches and in certain aspects and with his motor. What you like to see is a guy like that, 6'4", 6'5"-ish, who's getting rebounds in Summer League. He's always going to try. So in the NBA, that might be a dive on the floor situation rather than I'm going in the paint and just grabbing a rebound. Right, that his motor is going to always be on. The assists you like to see.
Yeah.
Because now you know that this guy can play make a little bit. He can put the ball on the ground. He can play make off of the shooting ability. So now when he becomes a threat, that pump fake one dribble pass or pump fake one dribble pull up, Chaz Lanier is showing me that the Pistons have a plan. They're not just, hey, go out there and let's see what you got. No, specialist is the key word there. We said it before the draft talking about him. We said it when they took him because we said the Pistons have a chance to draft one of, I think it was 10 specialists on the board or like 8 specialists on the board and 2 dynamic players. And they got their specialists and that's how they played them in Summer League, man.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely looking forward. Do you think he'll crack a lot of minutes? What do you think his minutes will look like?
I think he has to get
they got to put him on the floor.
I think he has to. If he's a specialist and he's knocking down the shots, I don't believe he's going to get just blown away defensively.
Yeah.
He has some measurables that can help him. And I believe that this team is going to take a step forward defensively overall as a team.
Okay.
So I do believe that he has everything in his wheelhouse to actually see some minutes sooner rather than later. We saw Ron Holland step out there on the court, and what got him out there sooner rather than later was how